Learn about the strides female entrepreneurs of color are making. Be inspired by their story and enlightened by their leadership, insight, and advice.
Welcome to WinHers United. This is Season 7, Episode 15, entitled Never Give Up with Sabrina Tucker-Barrett. I'm your host, Nicole Walker, and I believe that business, mindset, personal development, and self-care are the 4 pillars to entrepreneurial success. This is why WinHers United is your one-stop shop for business, mindset, personal development, and self-care conversations with winning women of color entrepreneurs. Don't forget to go to Apple Podcasts and give WinHers United a rating and review. All you need to do is go to the show page, scroll to the bottom, click the 5 stars, then write a review. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes of your time, and I would greatly appreciate it. And as a thank you, I'll be giving shout outs on future episodes to those that take time to write us a review. During this episode, you will hear about ways to raise money when starting a nonprofit, using project management software to keep yourself on target, doing the research necessary to excel, the importance of finding time for self-care, and much more. But before we get into the episode, let me tell you more about Sabrina Tucker-Barrett. Sabrina Tucker-Barrett is a mentor, STEM advocate, and the founder of Girls for Technology, which is a nonprofit focused on closing the gender gap in technology and engineering. Via Girls for Technology, Sabrina has been able to impact young girls across the United States, helping them to understand and grow in the STEM fields. Sabrina has received numerous accolades for her work, including the 100 Women of Color Award, being nominated for the Connecticut Entrepreneur Award, and recently being named one of the 11 business owners to watch in 2021 by Yahoo Finance. So without further ado, here is Never Give Up with Sabrina Tucker-Barrett. All right, so Sabrina, welcome to WinHers United. We are excited to hear more about you and your journey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Nicole.
You're welcome. All right, so let's get started by you telling us about your professional background and what you currently do professionally.
Sure. So my professional background was actually, I worked in corporate for about 8 years before starting Girls for Technology. I saw there was definitely a need for more women, especially Black women within the corporate sphere. And I just didn't see myself, kind of looking back in retrospect, I was a lot younger, and really wanted to do something that I could kind of create my own path. And then also see the younger generation kind of that following me after, would have something to be able to participate within programmings, really focusing on STEM and entrepreneurship. So I co-founded the organization in 2015 out of community need. Hartford has many challenges. I'm located in Hartford, Connecticut, the businesses, and really wanted to, create a STEM pathway for starting with young girls. So we started on this journey in 2015, teaching young girls really about just coding. And the organization quickly grew. We actually got, we are a nonprofit, and we wrote our first grant in 2015 to a public school, one of our local public schools, and was granted. At the time, STEM was not as, heard of, especially around coding within inner city schools. And so, it was a great idea. The proposal was great. And, we started with these 25 young women. And since then, the organization has grown to serving nearly almost 1,000 young girls and women. To date, we do a lot more programming than just coding, and that can be anywhere from teaching women around entrepreneurship. We have our Pipeline 4.0 programming, which is focused on workforce development. and teaching them, skill sets anywhere from Google Analytics to Salesforce, introduction to Salesforce, design thinking, and really preparing them socially and emotionally if they do decide to go into the corporate workspace.
Okay, I like that. So all from a need. And you said you were in corporate, and was that in the STEM fields as well in corporate?
Yeah, so my background is actually in healthcare administration. So, healthcare or, the health insurance industry is huge here. Many of the big corporations such as Cigna, Aetna, many of the main ones are located here. We were once considered the capital of, the insurance industry. And so, I did pursue a career in healthcare administration. And then that led me into just also, seeing my brother who was a computer science major and always intrigued by that, so many of my just personal experiences and then also my educational background.
Okay, nice. I find that to be interesting, right? Because I feel like there are a lot of women in the healthcare field in relation to nursing. But from what I'm hearing from you in the background, as far as what is that, like processes and procedures and things like that it's not a lot of women back there.
Yeah, I worked during my time there a lot with high-risk policies and then also with Medicare policies and really assessing the needs before they set the pricing, really working with those policies, in a background.
Yeah, interesting, right? Because I would feel like you need a diverse outlook, especially when setting policies. So
absolutely.
That's some great insight to provide. Thanks for that. All right. So you told us how you ended up in your current profession, basically seeing that need and wanting to fill that need and get women and young girls into STEM and entrepreneurship, right? So let's move on to you telling us about what you wanted to be when you grew up.
Wow. Yeah. So growing up, I said I wanted to be a child psychologist. That's kind of where my college path started. And then after taking one of too many statistic classes, I quickly realized psychology was not quite something I wanted to pursue. And so I ended up going the route of healthcare.
Okay. All right, good. So I feel like switching it up, right? Like in relation to what you wanted to be when you grew up, right? Versus what you are now. Are you happy with that decision? Are there any regrets there?
No, I would not change it for the world. I still feel like I'm still working with, what I wanted to be this child psychologist. I envisioned counseling, young girls, especially Black girls that look like me. I've always, from a very young age, said I wanted to be able to impart knowledge on the younger me. Even when I was a young girl, I felt like I was always very mature and kind of knew what I wanted to do in life. And, just being able to impart that knowledge. So yes, I'm very happy with forming Girls for Technology. I've been able to experience so many things that I feel like I would not have been able to experience sitting in corporate America.
Okay. Thanks for that. I love that. And I believe you brought up some key points, right? Because that's part of the reason why I created this podcast, right? Like I want to speak to the younger me, right? And part of the wisdom that I wish to impart on the world, right? So I think that is a good gem for anyone listening, right? If you feel like you haven't found your passion, you don't know where to go, a way or something to think about. It's like, what do you wish you had that you now have so that you can go back and give that to people that may not have it?
Yeah. And just really knowing, letting girls, especially girls of color, Black and Latinx, know that typically life is not a straight path. You're going to have ups and downs, and where you start is not necessarily where you're going to finish. And, I always say hard work. You put that hard work in and you're persistent and know where you want to go, anything is possible.
I love that. Anything is possible. Yeah, another gem. Look, you're dropping all the gems, right? Another gem though, right? Because I believe that we were kind of sold a fairy tale, this straight line in life, right? And then when life doesn't come together in this straight line that you were told it should be, then you feel like you haven't done what you're supposed to do, or you're not where you're supposed to be, or you missed out, right? So I love that point that you brought up, is that it's not a straight line. Like, don't believe the myth of it being a straight line, right? And enjoying the journey and seeing where it evolves and how it evolves, right? And knowing that you can change, directions, right? If the direction you're going in no longer suits who you are currently or who you want to be in the future.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about a pivotal point in your life and how it shaped who you are today.
Well, I mean, just one thing I would say, I guess, is a very pivotal point in my life, just kind of going back to kind of leaving corporate after having my twins and saying that I'm not going back into that space, that environment, and really stepping out on a limb, not knowing the direction of never have founding a business, not necessarily a whole lot of knowledge in nonprofit. That's a whole nother landscape. And really just stepping out on faith, knowing that I want to do something, I'm going to excel at it, and just taking that journey. So I think that was definitely one of the many pivotal parts of my life to date.
Okay. Now, did you step out by force or by choice?
By choice. Yep. So my first company that I worked with, there was a reduction in force, which meant that the whole department kind of shut down. It was during the Obama administration where Obamacare had come. And so many of the policies changed in many ways, and our department was no longer needed. So then I ended up going to another company, ended up having twins, and said, I just don't want to have that. I don't know. I wanted my children to see me more than just going to a 9-to-5 job. I want to be able to leave a legacy, not only for my children, but impart my knowledge and legacy on the world. And I felt that I could have more impact on more individuals by, being able to take what I know, that I, have this vision for, and being able to create something.
Okay. So you're deciding to leave corporate America and starting your company. Like, from what I heard it was uncharted territory, right? But was this plan like in the works prior to? And let me just paint a picture. The reason why I say that is I've heard in the past, like, people are like, if you aren't already working toward it, or if you haven't already replaced your salary, don't just jump into the waters, right? But then for some people, they jumped into the waters and it worked for them. I don't know. What's your take on that? And like, how was that for you?
Yeah, I definitely totally jumped into the water, had no income coming in. I relied heavily on my husband's income. I had the support of my parents still. So I did have supports in place, but financially it was rough for us, in the beginning as a family, just because it was only one income. We now had two twins that, I had to raise and kind of figure out, daycare and all those type of things. So that was another thing. I didn't want to have to put my kids in daycare. Oftentimes when working a 9-to-5, you see moms having to, do daycare or rely on a parent or and so I wanted to be able to work on this business. So I did, during the process of my pregnancy, started kind of mapping out a plan of what I envision of Girls for Technology. And it was a process. My husband did have the nonprofit background and, had held leadership positions within the nonprofit sector. So I was able to, we were able to kind of gel some of our experiences, my passion, my kind of gumption for wanting to be able to get into this entrepreneurial landscape, and then his nonprofit knowledge. And that's how we were able to form the organization.
Okay. So thinking back, would you do anything differently?
Oh, gosh. Probably. I don't think so. No. I would say if I could have saved more money, that would be a huge thing, because, any business that you need to have some little bit of seed capital. And I didn't have much, but, there are ways to be able to start a nonprofit even without a whole lot of seed capital. But, kind of in retrospect, I think I wish I did have I guess I wish I knew what I knew now about raising funds to be able to start a company.
Okay. Thanks for that. So you hit on something that, look, I am a knowledge junkie, so to say, right? Like I love to learn something new, right? So you just talked about ways to raise capital for nonprofits, even without, if you don't have it yourself. Can you just throw out one way for people listening that may want to and don't have that money?
Yeah. So, they say things like you can raise capital through friends and family first. Oftentimes within our community, that's not a huge way, but, it's still a way. You can ask a friend for $10 and have that friend ask for $10, and maybe you can get a good $1,000 from, creating some type of small fund, But there's also grants that can be written, to be able to start the business. And I'm more so for nonprofit. And then there's, you can create sponsorship, you can create a sponsorship packet, to be able to raise funds. So those are some of without getting too into all the minutia, those are three, I think, very easy ways I think that you can definitely raise a good $5,000 easily starting off.
Thanks for that. Look, that was off the script, guys, off the script. It just came to my head, right? And what I hear basically from that is where there is a will, there is a way, right? And if you really want it, you won't let anything stand in your way to get it, right?
Yeah.
So no excuses.
Yeah. And I want to say also one of my favorite, I always give a shout out to Walmart, especially for nonprofits when they are starting out. If you reach out to Walmart in your area, they will oftentimes give you a starting fund of up to $2,500 for your nonprofit.
Nice. Oh, look, that was a gem, another gem. All right. So Sabrina, it sounds like you are super busy, right? A lot of moving parts to your life. Like I feel like twins, that's two full-time jobs within themselves, having a company, having a family. So how do you ensure that you're showing up fully and to the best of your abilities?
It's a work in progress. I'm still, something always feels like, because this is a full-time job, but, through COVID, I've been lucky to be able to have my twins here with me. So they come to work with me. They're doing school via Zoom. So I'm able to, wherein, pre-COVID, I wouldn't see them maybe from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, so I have the ability to help them with their schoolwork. I take breaks within my work time to be able to help them and really, still be very much engaged. But, it always seems to be a work in progress because it always seems like something goes lacking. And so, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Just kind of juggling it all.
Yeah. Now, when you say something goes lacking, right? And I'm just speaking from my own personal knowledge and experiences, would that something happen to be yourself?
Oftentimes. Often. Yeah. I feel like I'm worried about my twins. I have a husband. I have my mom who's a senior, who also lives with us. And then I have, Girls for Technology that is very, it's a thriving nonprofit. It's a growing nonprofit. And so oftentimes I think about myself last, in the process.
Okay. Now, are you thinking of ways to change that?
Oh, it doesn't get thought of. Well, I'm taking a vacation. So we are taking a family vacation. It is COVID, so we aren't doing too much. We're renting an Airbnb and just kind of relaxing just to be somewhere nice in a nice warm climate. So yes, I do plan on taking some time for myself.
Okay. Yes, that's a great point, right? Unplugging. I just got back from vacation not too long ago. I had to take my son, right? Because I'm a single mom, but I went to a resort and they had the kids club, right? So I
Oh,
was able to get my time
yeah,
in.
yeah,
So I do agree that even if you can't do something, every day or every week or even
yeah,
every month,
yeah,
try to fit a vacation in
yeah,
quarterly, right? Or
right.
something, somewhere along the way to make sure that you're pouring back into yourself, right?
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about your morning routine.
So my morning routine is, because we are in COVID still, I'm getting my kids ready for school. We wake up around 6 o'clock in the morning. So my mornings start pretty early. Actually, my personal morning starts even earlier than that, because I'm just kind of getting myself in a place, going through emails, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm a early person, so I wake up rather early. And then I'm getting the twins ready, getting myself ready. And then we're here in the office till 5 or 5-ish. And then we try to get some fun time. We'll go to the park, or, if they need more assistance with their homework, we're going home, cooking, just either I'm cooking, my mom's cooking, or we'll go out to eat. So, we still try to still feel like some type of normalcy during this COVID time, because, it has been a challenge on, my twins, they want to be back in school, just staring at a Zoom, even me, having to go through these Zoom meetings and not being able to interact with people. I just can't wait for it to be over.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So you talked about rising early so that you can have time to yourself, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
that that is a key point, especially when juggling business, family, and life in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned going through your emails, but do you also, take personal time during that time as well? So we're going to challenge you. Look, that's
I
your
know.
challenge.
I know.
That is your challenge. Okay, okay. Look, no judgment zone.
I
No
know.
judgment zone, but always looking for ways to pour back, right?
I'm always
And
like,
I
I need to get up and do a little exercise, a meditation or something just for myself. And I said that was like one of my challenges to myself for 2021, and still working on it.
all right. Okay, so tell us about the toughest struggle that you had to overcome and how you overcame.
The toughest struggle. So I guess I would say, to date, the toughest struggle, I am a stroke survivor.
Mm.
A little bit after having twins, I did suffer actually 2 back-to-back strokes. I also have Crohn's, and so they seem to think that there was some type of correlation. So I had to learn how to walk and talk again.
Mm.
And so I would say that's definitely been one of the toughest struggles. I was hospitalized for maybe a little bit over a month, almost a month and a half, really going through deep therapy, and then another 6 months of intensive therapy to really get my walking and, being able to have all of my motor skills and cognitive skills kind of in place. But I am so blessed that I worked really hard at it, and I prayed a lot, and most people you wouldn't even know. Like, I can walk, I have all functioning. And so just very blessed, to kind of see where I came from and to where I am now.
Yeah, look, I'm listening. I'm
Yeah.
like, you're a walking miracle, it sounds
Yeah,
like to
that's
me,
what they
right?
say. Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Definitely.
goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I feel like that's like never accept defeat.
That's right. That's right.
So was there anything that you learned during that time, or, like any mindset tips, or, anything that really like changed the way you look? I feel like when people go through
Yeah.
things like that, it usually changes the way they look at life or change their approach to life. Did that happen for you?
Definitely. And that's what I tell people, just never give up. Like, be persistent, fight through, like, whatever obstacle may come your way. If you believe in something, if you know that, something is meant for you, you have to push through, even when things seem dark and grim and, there's no hope, there's always hope. There's always a better day ahead.
Yes, there is always hope. I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. And I don't know, some people call me, what am I? I don't know what's the word for it. Is it an optim? Like, I don't know what the word, right? But I feel like we have a choice in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can choose to allow everything to get you down, right? Because if you want, any and everything can get you down, right?
Yes.
Or you can choose to look at blessings, the learning lessons, like the good points that even a negative situation can bring to your life. And that's the side that I like to live on, right? Because it just makes me happier, right?
Yes, and yes.
Do you have a dream to impact the world? If so, you should take Sabrina's advice and never give up. Podcasting has allowed my dream of impacting the world to come true. And I would love to help you make your dream come true as well via podcasting. Send me an email at winhersunited@gmail.com so we can chat about your podcasting future. It would be my honor to help you get started. As always, remember that your voice matters and the world needs you. So that is WinHers United, WinHersUnited @gmail.com. So do you have a leadership practice or principle that governs your life? And if so, can you tell us more?
I mean, one thing I think is don't start something that you're not going to finish. I think it's very important that, and I teach my twins that, sometimes they feel like things are too hard, or I thought I liked it and no, I don't like it anymore. And that's fine. You can not like something and you can, and you can go on to something different. But if there's a time that you're supposed to do something, be dedicated and willing to start or finish what you start.
Okay. I like that, right? So, because my follow-up question was going to be, and I feel like a buzzword in entrepreneurship is pivot. From what I heard you say, see it through at least to some end point. Don't just stop, like a dead stop in the middle of, let's say, a project or a task.
And I feel like within pivoting, that doesn't mean that you're stopping. It's just reinventing the situation, making it better, hopefully, and looking at where there may be challenges and making it better, you know? So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're just totally stopping. You're, like you said, you're pivoting and adjusting to the climate or the situation.
Okay. I like that. So that, to me, that ties back to your never give up, right?
That's right.
I like it. All right. So do you have a recommended resource that you can tell us about and how you utilize it? So it could be for business, a business tool, a application. It could be personal, self-care, any of those areas, but, something that you utilize to make things easier or get the job done.
Yeah, so a business tool that I've been using, especially since COVID, to really keep myself on track is Trello. I am a huge, and then there's Trello, there's Asana, but I really like Trello to project manage myself. I put, time dates to things and to make sure that I just kind of stay on track. Because there, in entrepreneurship, when you're a mother, you have a lot of moving pieces and you need to make sure that at least I like to make sure that I'm staying on task and not veering off and, really trying to structure my day out.
Good. That was awesome. And you said a key thing that stuck out to me, right? Because I feel like when people think of those kinds of applications, you think of, a whole team or a whole department, a whole organization, right? But, and yes, it's for that, right? But You said project manage myself. I think that was a whole word, right? And especially for a solopreneur, right? Like, what if you don't have a team? Then you may feel like this resource is not for you, but who's going to keep you in line? You don't have anyone over your shoulder making sure that you did X, Y, and Z that you said you were going to do, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that was a great tip.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have any advice for an up and coming entrepreneur?
A lot of advice, but let's see. I guess advice for those who are on the fence of kind of taking their side hustle and turning it into a monetizable business, I would say that they really need to, some things are things that you're just going to kind of learn through the process. But I would say try to do as much research, whether it's research on business formation, because there's all types of like business formation, whether it be LLC, C Corp, S Corp. If you're going to go to nonprofit, there's B corporations. And so there's different tax implications for many of those, especially when you look in the for-profit. And, that's a whole nother LLC versus C Corp. So I won't go there, but but I would say do your research on the benefits, the pros and the cons of what type of formation you are going to kind of form your business. And then find a mentor, find someone that has kind of been through the path, whether you're meeting that mentor on Clubhouse, LinkedIn, however, somebody in your church. Mentorship is huge for women, Black women, especially. Oftentimes we don't have, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a mentor that is another Black woman. It can be just finding a mentor in general that has been through the process, that wants to see you do just as well as they have done. So I think that's really important.
Okay, thanks for that. I love that. Yes, research is key, and learning from people that have been there and done that, right? It definitely shortens the time. So quick deviation, right? Because I believe, and this may be my own brain, when we say the word mentor, I think that people may assume that that's like a free service, right? Like someone along the way, right? But can you give, is that something that people should be willing to pay for as well? What's your thoughts there?
Absolutely. So there's mentors that could be someone that's going to speak on your behalf, even when you're not around. You have to pay to play. So sometimes within mentorship, you have to pay to be able to get to the next level. Oftentimes we like to take shortcuts and think that everything's supposed to be free to us, but that's not how, we live in a society that is a capitalistic society. So people want to be paid for, that can only be stretched so far. You don't want to feel like you're taking advantage of someone or being a burden on somebody, but mentorship, yes, definitely can be someone that is also charging you.
Okay. All right. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself, right? All right. So tell us how you stay on the cutting edge in your field.
Research, and mentors. And I'm investing in myself through, having access to mentors. I invest in myself by a lot of reading, whether it's listening to people who have more knowledge than me, or even just, researching what the latest is out there, whether it's programming around nonprofit. I don't only look at what's going on within the US, I'm looking at what other countries are doing. Because sometimes there are countries that are definitely more advanced in certain areas than us. So I want to see what they're doing and how we can tie it back into our programming. So that's been successful for me.
I love that, right? So not only giving us advice, guys, but giving us the advice that she uses herself, right? So I love that. All right. So before we go, this is what I call the fun part, right? And I know you have one answer to this, right, already. So tell us about your last vacation tell us what's your favorite vacation, right? And I like to ask people, where do you want to go next? But you're already going somewhere next. So that too.
Yeah, so I am getting ready to travel just for a little relaxation time to Florida. However, my favorite vacation has been to Jamaica. I love Jamaica. And I also love traveling to Las Vegas. And I hope one day that I will be able to go to Egypt. That's like an ultimate. I really want to be able to see, the pyramids and the tombstones and everything that I've always seen kind of on TV and want to be able to experience firsthand. So that is somewhere I want to be able to go hopefully soon.
Nice. What part of Florida are you going to?
Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I feel like I live in Florida, right? So I feel like Florida is. Yeah, I feel like I could go on vacation within my state, right? And never, don't have to leave. But of course, it's always fun to get out. Got relocated from New Jersey, so I've been here like 3 years now.
Oh, what part?
I'm in Tampa, the Tampa area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, but enjoy. Look, I'll be living vicariously through you. So thank you. Thank you. So before we let you go, do you have any events, any offers? Tell the listeners where they can find you and find out more about Girls for Technology.
Sure. So you can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Sabrina Tucker-Barrett. You can find the organization at www.girlsfortechnology.org. We are also on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, we're on all of them, TikTok. And so you can find us on any of those locations. Some of our programming, so now that more of our programs are now virtual, we've been kind of seeing an uptick of individuals and young people who want to participate in our programs on a national scale. So we're getting participants from anywhere from California to Georgia to South Carolina who have been able to participate. So our next program that we have coming up is really focused on tech entrepreneurship with a focus on e-commerce. So that advertising will be coming out. So any young women between the grades of 11th and 12th grade who are really want to take their side hustle, how to put it on a digital platform, please reach out to Girls for Technology.
I love it. Awesome. I think the work that you're doing is super valuable, super important, and just appreciate all that you are giving back to the world.
Thank you.
All right. So Sabrina, thank you again for coming to WinHers United, for sharing your background, your insight, your advice. We appreciate you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Nicole.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of WinHers United. I hope you found this information useful and can take at least one thing away to implement into your life. Go to winhersunited.com/podcast to read the show notes for this episode and check out Sabrina's full bio. Also, don't forget to follow us on Clubhouse at WinHers United so you can join us in a future room. As always, be empowered and empower on.